Hi, I'm Laura from Ontario Business Central. Today I'm with Ian Smith. Hi, Ian. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. So, Ian owns two completely different businesses. The one is Orange Theory Fitness, which is a franchise, and the other one is his own business called BFF Playcare. So, I wanted to first ask you about what is it like owning a franchise?
It's been great. Like that was my first business. A lot of benefits in terms of processes spelled out. There's kind of a framework for execution, which the background I had, I think that helped coming into with a lot of those things taken care of. So as a first business, it was very helpful for me.
Is it expensive buying a franchise?
Yeah, there was extra fees that would be different from opening up yourself. I thought that those fees were worth it in terms of what you're getting back. Help in marketing, help in operations, guidance in a lot of areas that I wasn't an expert in. So it is more expensive than doing something maybe yourself, but I think it helped me be set up for success.
And how many years ago did you start the business?
I opened my location in 2019.
And what made you get into fitness?
I've always liked fitness. It's been like a part of my life. It's been a hobby. I've always enjoyed being part of like communities and fitness communities. So that was a part that drew me towards it. And then I first found Orange Theory in 2018 and just like fell in love with the brand right away. It was a great product. The studios were great. I started getting into like the business operations a little bit more, and then that's kind of what made me move forward with that.
And what was your background when you talked about your background before you bought the franchise?
I have a retail management background. Initially, I did that out of school, and then I went to management consulting from there. That's where I found Orange Theory. I was in Florida, which is where Orange Theory started, and doing a project, and that's where I first went into a location.
Oh, is that where you own? Or you own a location in the
No, I own
States?
it. I own it right here in Toronto. Found it there. I was flying back and forth for this project. That's where I first saw Orange Theory, and then I started looking into opportunities in Canada. They were franchising at that time, and Toronto was an open market, so I selected my area from there.
And do you have like a preferential area? Like when you buy a franchise, then another franchise of the similar brand can't locate within so far away from you?
Yeah, so when buying a franchise, you buy a territory that's spelled out like on a map basically, and you have rights to that area. So no other Orange Theory could open within my territory. Obviously, competitor is a different thing, but in terms of like how they manage the brand, you have that specific area.
And when you bought it, did you have to have all the money up front, or did you have to have a portion and then you're paying them over time?
It's a couple of different ways in terms of financing the project. There's an initial franchise fee, which I think is common for most franchise businesses. They would give you a guide in terms of recommended liquid capital that you should have on top of that. And then from there, you're going through, I think, what a lot of small business owners do, some of the traditional financing routes. So how much liquid capital you have, a small business loan in Canada, I know is very popular, using BDC as like a operation loan as well. So I use a few of those different avenues to go to finance.
And what do you love about being an entrepreneur?
I love the challenge. I love the like flexibility and the creativity. I love the responsibility that at the end of the day, like win, lose, your results, they rely on you.
Right.
That part's exciting. I find it very motivating.
When you bought the second business, it's not a franchise. You bought it from another small business owner?
Yep. So buying the second business, it is a unique business, not a franchise. It was already operating. They've been operating since 2016, and that small business owner was selling the business. So I found them on a website and then kind of went through the process with them and ended up purchasing the business from them.
And was it like a buy and sell website you went to?
Yeah, it was a buy and sell. I think it was just called Ontario Businesses for Sale. That's where I saw their listing. And then I reached out. I ended up speaking to the owner of the business, and most of that transaction went through. I was just back and forth. That's how I purchased that.
Did you finance the second business?
Yep, I used a Canada Small Business Loan again, and then some of my own capital.
Do you have employees? I assume that you do when you talk about your leadership team.
Yeah, I have employees at both. So Orange Theory, we're a team of about 13 people. And with BFF, we're a team of 6. The Orange Theory team has more of a leadership setup. Right now for BFF, I I'm kind of more of an owner-operator role at the moment.
And it takes, I assume, more of your time.
Currently, yeah. So currently it's about 80% of my time is with BFF.
How have you felt about having employees? What are challenges to having employees?
Honestly, the way I feel about employees, it's been great. One of my first roles kind of coming out of university was in a leadership position. I've always enjoyed leading, managing teams, like creating good cultures, and like the dynamics of how you do that. That's always been a fun part of owning a business and being able to do that with teams. So it's been great for me.
Did you have to get human resources like software or hire somebody to oversee that part of your business?
Yeah, there's a few different platforms we use that like help kind of streamline some of these, like in terms of managing employees. So like I have a payroll management system, different pieces like that help in terms of managing employees. In terms of the hiring process, I've used like Indeed in terms of posting for positions and stuff. I feel like for most small business owners, you are doing a lot of these things. So you're wearing multiple hats typically, and a big part of that hat is the HR hat as well. So I think there's tools and resources available that make you able to do that and make it easier, but you are still guiding and doing a lot of those things, whether it is setting up payroll, whether it's hiring, whether it's posting job positions and recruiting actively. So I've kind of done all those different pieces.
And what about accounting?
So for accounting, I do a good chunk of that as well. I do have an accountant that helps with like year end and kind of more major milestone pieces of running our business. But in terms of day to day, I've always done it.
So Ian, what do you find challenging about being an entrepreneur overall?
I'd say it's probably that you have to do a lot of different things that you're not and can't realistically be an expert in. So a lot of times you're trying to figure out and do these different roles, and usually on some sort of time crunch. So I feel like juggling all of that and trying to still do it well and make sure that like everybody's getting what they need to and the business is moving forward in the right way. I find that's probably one of the most challenging.
Do you think you'd buy another business? Is your goal to continue to buy businesses as you sort of get each one in a good place? Do you want to continue to buy more or expand the ones that you have?
I think in this position right now, my goal would be expand the ones I have. BFF Playcare, the dog boarding resort, like that's relatively new. I'm still focusing a lot there. There's a lot to work on, and I think that we can improve on and really look to expand that business. So that's where a lot of energy is. I think too, at this scale, having two small businesses, and I think most small business operators would agree to it is a lot to take on as an individual. So I think either the scale would have to be higher to be able to branch out and move on to another business where you have a lot larger of a team, you have a lot more leadership on the team. So at this point, I'd say the focus would be expanding, operating, and making sure the two businesses I have are running really well.
Have you thought about purchasing another franchise?
My experience with the franchise route has been very positive. It's something I would definitely look to in the future as well.
I'm assuming you don't have to do any marketing or advertising yourself.
You do still manage with a franchise a good chunk of your own marketing, your own advertising. I'd say the way I would look at it is a franchise business, there's kind of like a larger, broad umbrella that's covering some of those areas in some degree for you. So you get to, as like a business owner, still get to work in each of those different fields, but you have support in each one. When I opened and purchased, it was 1,000+ locations globally. So I didn't really have to think about or worry about what color the tile is going to be on the ceiling, or what's the floor going to look like, or where the desk is going to be and how big is it.
Now, did you do research to find a franchise, or did you just really like this business and try to figure out how you could buy into it?
I really liked the business and figured out how I would buy into it. And that's kind of how I feel like I make most of my decisions. I had a really good feeling with Orange Theory. The high level numbers made sense to me. And then from there, I used that to say, how do I make this work?
So Ian, what made you decide to be an entrepreneur?
So for me, wanting to be an entrepreneur was something like I've been focused on since I was super young. I'm not sure where that first idea came from. I think what's always appealed to me about it is the flexibility, the ownership piece of result, and you really get to guide your future. So for me, that's been in my mind since I was young. And I know first couple of jobs, like my main goal was one, think of what I want to do to open my own business and what that's going to look like, and then basically saving enough money to be able to then eventually take that leap and do that with a business, and trying to just be in a position where I was ready to do that. So if an opportunity came, I could jump on it right away, which is ended up what happened with Orange Theory.
So what has been like a real highlight for you in being an entrepreneur? What do you love about it?
A highlight for me as an entrepreneur, I think a lot of businesses, and especially with Orange Theory, fitness was hit very hard throughout the pandemic. How we moved through that, how we came out of that, how strong that my studio is doing and has performed since that, that feels like just a major highlight for me, and it's something I'm super proud of. I'm super proud of the team that we've had there and what we've been able to do in the community there.
If you could give advice to anyone sitting on the fence thinking about stepping forward into the path of having their own business, what would you say to them?
Probably be to have a very clear vision and image of what that looks like in your life if it doesn't work out, and also a very clear image of what you're willing to do to make it work out and how that will impact the rest of your life.
So operating two businesses, you obviously have to promote, do marketing. How do you do that, and what tools do you use?
So with Orange Theory Fitness, it's a very competitive market. Fitness is very competitive. So the marketing kind of has to reflect that. We use a variety of different things between social media ads. We'll do a lot of guerrilla marketing stuff. With BFF Playcare, it's a lot less formalized. Primarily there, we rely on referral marketing.
When you're buying BFF, it was an established business. How did you structure it for the purchase?
Yeah, so in terms of purchasing BFF, so they were running since 2016. With OBC, I created a corporation, and I used that corporation to basically do an asset purchase of the business. So I bought the name, the rights to the website, everything that came with the business under this new corporation that I incorporated with OBC.
Ian, what was your experience like incorporating with Ontario Business Central?
My experience was very easy and seamless. I think when I was ready to make a move, I knew I wanted to incorporate the business and have that to be able to purchase BFF. The process is very easy to follow. I did it all online, had all the information there. It was great.
Well, thank you for using us.
Yeah, no problem.
So Ian, I want to thank you for coming in today. It's really interesting that you have two businesses, and not only two businesses, but very different. One being workouts and the other one being taking care of people's fur babies. So I appreciate you coming in and telling us your experiences in owning a franchise and having a secondary business and the draws between the two. I wish you all the best with both businesses, and thank you for coming in.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.